Greetings. How are you doing? Good. So I understand we are gathered here for a special day. I learned a lot. It's very interesting because as I looked at the time period in which Ethiopia was attacked by the Italians, was the same time that Ghana was attacked. Did you know that? Did you also know it was one of the same times, the first time, which is the Battle of Adwa. The first time was during the time period of what we call freedom as African Americans. And the time period in which Texas and we as African Americans celebrate something similar, which was freedom, which is called Juneteenth. Okay? So you're looking at around 1865. Okay? However, realistically, we were closer to you guys in 1895 when they actually honored all the slaves being free on this continent. So, isn't it ironic how on one side of the earth and the other side of the earth, the same man and same woman are being attacked? We're closer in alignment than what you would ever believe. We have some of the same struggles today. As I see my brothers and sisters who have come over here to America, you have now incurred some of those struggles. You've seen them firsthand. Most of the time, you're more educated than the colleagues you sit next to. But you may not be honored the same way that they are because of your skin. Have you experienced that? Okay. It's a reality. It's a reality. So I look at the second battle in 1935, and it ends in 1941. Okay? And now the flag of the lion in Judah gets to rise again, correct? All right. So as I understand that, this is the same time period in which black men are embedded with a disease called syphilis here in this continent. Now, in 1941, you could rise the flag again, saying freedom. Right? I don't want to butcher the name of it. I want to say Salis. Is that correct? Salis. Okay. So that's a beautiful thing. But guess what? On this side of the table, or should I say on this side of the earth, we're being affected with a disease called syphilis during the same period. Now, you know how important your battle was? You have no idea. You know it on your side of the continent how important it was. But you have no idea how important it was on this side of the continent. Do you know because we won the second battle, they had to change the World War, which we now know it as the United Nations, because they scrapped the other one. Did you know that? That was because of your war. And you win. Had you not won, it would still be called, I think it was called the World Enforcement. I forgot what it's called, and the reason I did forget it because it's not important to me, because they had no bearing of human rights. They respected no person of color's human rights. In fact, they endorsed a document and ideology that said any person of color should not ever have rights on this soil. They enforced that indoctrination all the way up into the 40s. Now, yeah, they changed some laws, but some of the same policies were written that stood to date until you guys won your war. Did you understand what I'm saying? So we're brothers and sisters in arms for real. So don't allow the break, because sometimes For a lack of knowledge, it says it in the Bible, for a lack of knowledge, my people shall what? Perish. Well, if we don't respect and love one another, what's going to happen? The divide and conquer has been throughout years. Has it or has it not? How many countries in Africa have been divided, but not by their own? We have two children of the same grandfather fighting. Then you come over to this country and you see something as simple-minded and stupid called Crips and Bloods. Now, isn't that silly? Same people fighting. And I've actually seen where I've mentored some of those young men, but they were in the same bloodline family, had the same grandfather, but they're fighting. How foolish is that? So when you look at the United Nations now, you should look at it with a whole different level of pride and understanding that you were instrumental in it becoming the United Nations. Because before then, they truthfully didn't recognize any of the colleagues from Africa or other continents of people of color. So I looked at the battle of 1935, ending in 1941. And then I looked at the introduction of syphilis during 1936, actually being written and endorsed by 1941 by the Surgeon General of the United States to use African American males as an experiment or a guinea pig. Now, they didn't stop at African American males, I want you to understand that. They said anyone of African descent. So that pretty much meets everybody in this room, doesn't it? Okay. So, divide and conquer is so dangerous, but it's simple. Because people who don't mean you good typically aren't that smart. We understand that, correct? We understand that, correct? When we look around this room, and I look around this room, I look at some esteemed colleagues, educators, scholars, but typically the people who cause the most confusion don't look like you and I as it relates to intellect. They don't have peace in their heart, and they don't have intellect in their minds. So we have to be mindful of that and never let our intellect or newly acquired position to be used against ourselves and our own brethren and sisters. Because that happens quite often. We reach a point of hierarchy, so we believe, but the first thing they do is isolate you from your own. They don't allow you to participate with your own culture. They tell you you don't need to celebrate that. All you need to celebrate is President's Day. But how important is that one? How many presidents to date, and I've met 4 in my lifetime, would actually know about this battle and know that this was one of the catalysts that changed the United Nations into what it is now? I guarantee you, we may have one, and that would be President Obama. Because most people on this continent don't know about this war. But then let's look at something else. Let's take a step further. This is an interesting piece. I want to see if you know. At the same time, you were fighting the Italians, correct? Now, just to the south of Italy is what? Paris, France, correct? Okay, well, guess what? They decided to attack an indigenous African people on the other side of the continent, and they're called Haitians. Well, at the same time you were being attacked, they were also being attacked by France. Did you know that they had to turn around and fight that same war again 72 years later? Does that sound familiar? Because you had to do the same thing, correct? Yours was some odd 46 years later. They turned around and had to fight the same war against the French, and they defeated them. So, between Ethiopia and Port-au-Prince, those are the only two places where they were not colonized by Europeans. Haiti has never been colonized, nor did the Brits come to their aid. But my question to you tonight is, did you know that? Because if you talk to a brother or sister, a Haitian brother or sister, they look like you and I. They came also from Africa. They were put in the port of Port-au-Prince in 1423. So when you're put at a port, let's say roughly 600 or 700 years previous to, think about it. Think about it. So I was here and I was invited here to just make an understanding and share some words and actually just to take up the environment, to receive the environment. And I thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you. But the information that I share with you, I want you to know, because it's equally important that you were attacked and you're not alone. So the next time you see a brother or a sister from Haiti, you know their struggle is identical to yours, just on the opposite side of Europe. So again, I want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for sharing this day with me. And thank you for your contribution, because without you, again, the United Nations